Good morning, good day, and good evening. I am, as always, your host, Brody Robertson, and today we are doing another solo episode, the first solo episode recording of the year. I'm recording this on January 8th, so right now we're in the middle of CES, so I'm sure there's going to be more nonsense announced that I'm not aware of yet, but there's already been some fun stuff. Now, this was supposed to be a guest episode originally. That didn't happen because the guest I was going to have on had, personal, serious life things to deal with. So, that has been delayed probably till next week. That's what I'm thinking. I have other people I need to reach out to, that I was talking to before the end of the year. But, Christmas, all that stuff, people were busy. So we'll see what ends up happening with some of those. Most of those, I think, will end up happening. One of them, I'm not sure about, but we'll see. Anyway, gaming, tech, Linux. I don't know where to start. So I think maybe the best place to start, honestly, is probably with, the NVIDIA GPU stuff. And I don't... I think a lot of people just didn't realize, because NVIDIA kind of took center stage, but, in case you were unaware, AMD also announced some GPUs. I don't think I've seen a single person talk about them. I've seen people be like, AMD didn't announce any GPUs at CES. No, they literally did. No, they actually did announce GPUs, but, no one cared. At all. I think the reason no one cared is twofold. One is the price of the top-end NVIDIA GPU, $2,000 US. I remember when the Titan came out. Remember when the Titan came out and people were like, oh my god, it's $1,000 GPU. Titan launch. NVIDIA Titan launch. Sorry, $1,200. Or is this the... No, this was the Titan XP. I don't... Wait, is this... Yes, this is the original Titan. Oh my god, it was back during the 680 era. Yeah. That was $999. This thing came out, people were like, oh my god, that is so expensive for a GPU. Remember GPUs were small? This was the top-end compute GPU. Look how many slots it takes. You can fit this in a micro ITX system. Maybe not that, but maybe not small. But you can fit this in a normal size computer, and then look at the top end cards today, and it's this is a 7-slot it's not actually a 7-slot, but it's a 4-slot GPU. What are you saying? What do you mean it's a 4-slot GPU? Stop it. Make smaller cards. Anyway, yeah, so AMD also announced GPUs. They also have their FSR4 upscaling. We'll do another rant about upscaling nonsense in a moment, but this is the 9070 XT and the 9070. These will be available in Q1 this year, so sometime before March. I don't think they actually announced this specific day it will be available. Also, this is the other reason why no one's talking about it. They are offering performance similar to the 4070 Ti and the 4070. With the new NVIDIA cards literally being announced the day after that. With much, much higher performance. Now, obviously, until we see actual third-party reviews like your Gamers Nexus and people like that look at these cards, take every single thing that is being said by the developer of the cards with a giant grain of salt. It is in their best possible interest to maybe not lie about the card, but be less than honest. Present things in a way where it puts it in the best possible light, where it's we're gonna test on a very well-known performing game with this very specific set of settings, with this specific hardware configuration, sometimes even using different versions of DLSS. I'm looking at you, Nvidia. So that's the other thing. So we also have the performance with the 5090 and the 5070. So the 5090, I wonder if we're seeing anyone actually repeating the claim. Double. Okay, at least The Verge is not repeating the claim. So there are two very bullshit claims, we'll call them, that are being made by Nvidia. The first is that I wonder if they're saying no. Okay, they're actually being sensible. Do they 4090 a bit blah blah blah. Oh, no. Okay, they say 2 times, not double. Take back everything I said positive about The Verge. They are also using bullshit numbers. Okay, so the first claim, the 5090 has double the performance of the 4090. The second claim is the 5070 has the same performance as the 4090, but also is only 549, whereas the 4090, what is the 4090 MSRP? Is it like 1100? MSRP, Nope, take back everything. Jesus Christ. 50, or is that Australian pricing? No, wait, did they MSRP at $1,599? So, okay. Yeah, the claim is the 5070 is the same performance as the 4090, but is basically a third of the MSRP. Now, obviously, MSRP isn't the sale, like the price you're going to get the cards at from the actual third-party board integrators. MSRP is Nvidia's price, which is the bullshit price. When they add their additional fans on things like that, the price will be higher, but it's still going to be a lot cheaper than the 4090 was. Again, keep in mind, these numbers are being presented in a way to look as good as is physically possible. A great example of this is the way they're presenting the numbers for the the numbers for the 5090 versus the 4090. So this is from Nvidia's own demo. So 4090, 106 FPS. 5090, 239 FPS. I believe this is Cyberpunk, fully maxed out. Now notice this little bit right here. DLSS 3.5 versus DLSS 4. So it's comparing basically apples for oranges. Is not even comparing the same thing. Now, do they show it in this video? No. Okay, but there is... Okay, let me show you the other video then, the Nick Tech video, because that one actually shows you what the numbers are closer to be like in the real world. So, I'm gonna mute that. Now, where is it? Okay. Oh, wait, so it's on their website. Hold up. Let me just go to their website. I didn't realize it was just on their website. I thought it was like a marketing slide somewhere. GeForce 5090. Here? Is that it? Are the graphs here? Yes. Okay, here we go. Here's the actual graph. Cool. So, here is the actual performance of the card. Without DLSS on, fully maxed out Cyberpunk, it is 28 FPS. Now, can I just search 40 series 4090? Does their site work like that? Yes, it does. Thank you for having a reasonable website with things laid out sensibly. Here is the 4090 performance. DLSS off, 21 FPS. So, if you are comparing the DLSS numbers, the DLSS 4 versus DLSS 3.5 on the 4090 and the 5090, yes, you will get double the performance. However, if we are not talking about fake frames and frame generation and all this bullshit, it's about 35-40% faster, which, you know, is a big upgrade. Don't get me wrong, it's a big upgrade. It's not double, though. It is not double. And the same thing can be said when we're talking about the 5070 versus the 4090. With DLSS, it has about the same performance. But I believe it has... How much VRAM does it have? NVIDIA 5070 VRAM. Is it 12 gig? Is that the number? Ah, wait, they have both of them here. Awesome, thank you. Where is the VRAM? Here we go. Okay, so the 5070 is 12 gigabytes of VRAM, whereas the 4090 is 24 gigabytes. Now, to be fair, this card is going to be a lot cheaper to run, because I believe it has a much lower... Yeah, it has a way, way lower TDP. Right? I'm not saying the 5070 is going to be a bad card. It seems like it's going to be a great card. However, the claims are a little bit... Just a tiny little bit bullshit. Again, I would be waiting until, like, Gamers Nexus or someone else actually reputable does a benchmark of these cards and shows what the real-world performance is like. Because I've done this rant before. We're going to do it again. I absolutely fucking hate the state of modern video games and rendering bullshit, fake frames, frame generation nonsense. I honestly think that, like, DLSS, FSR, things like that, initially, when their goal was raising up the performance on lower-end cards, that was a reasonable goal to have. The problem is now, the entire games industry and the entirety of optimization of video games is based around DLSS, based around FSR, based around XESS. Is that Intel's solution? XESS. Yes, XESS. So it's based around all of these tech, and we're making these, like, basically every game is being treated like Crysis, where it's made so it cannot run on modern hardware. The difference, though, is Crysis couldn't run on modern hardware because Crysis looked insanely good for the hardware at the time. Modern games are just fucking horribly optimized, and in a lot of cases don't look that much better than games we had like 5-6 years ago. But they run so much worse because there is no effort being put into optimizing these games, because you can just bullshit frames using DLSS, using FSR, using XeSS, and all of this other tech that's built around it. So you can go from, like, this is the other problem, right? If you're going from 28, or in like the case of the previous card, 20 FPS to 100 to 242, you are going to have massive input lag. This is going to be disgusting to play. But then you build up tech around it so you can, like, fake input into, like, the fake frames, so you can, like, you can guess what the next input's gonna be, and, like, it's just bullshit on top of bullshit on top of bullshit to, like, just effectively recreate what we already had with rastered graphics, but making it just worse to play, look worse, and I really hate the direction things are going. This is such a shit direction for the industry, and maybe in like 5-10 years, it's gonna be fine, right? Maybe. I'm not one of those people who are gonna say, oh, tech is bad today, tech is always gonna be bad. But I seriously have my doubts that this is ever gonna become good and better than just natively rendering at a sensible fucking resolution, not having 100,000 polygons for a toothbrush, not having 8K grass where no one's gonna see it, not having 16K crowds in a fucking racing game. Just making games based around the performance that you currently have. The thing is, this is not going to change because it's in the consoles now. We got away with this and not having to deal with it for a while because it was a PC thing. And game devs aren't going to, like, optimize their game around something that's only in PC. But now that it's in consoles, now it's here. And if you get rid of it, all of a sudden the next generation console just isn't going to have that much extra performance and things aren't going to run better. Now that, like, 120 FPS is becoming a thing on consoles as well, like, you can't get rid of it. It is so ingrained unless you make such a giant leap in console performance. There is no way whatsoever this is going to be removed, going to be dealt with, and yeah, I'm not going to go into a rant on, like, UE5 destroying the game industry, because I don't think UE5 is the fault. This would have happened with any other game engine that where we're, like, built around this, like, AI bullshit. But yeah, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. Nothing's gonna change it now. Just play games that, like, actually are optimized. Don't buy AAA bullshit. Support AA game developers that actually want to make a good game, that want to try to, like, they're like, proud in their work and want to optimize something. But, you know, video games. Speaking of video games, the Legion Go S is actually real. Lenovo Legion Go S official. $499 buys the first authorized third-party SteamOS handheld. So this is actually cheaper. I think this was written by where's the author here? No, okay, no, that was the other one. Yeah. Anyway, this is actually cheaper than their Windows version. Now, don't be confused entirely into thinking it's because of SteamOS. That's partially it. So, I don't know why they've done it like this, but they have a 1 terabyte version with 16 gigs of RAM. That is $599, whereas the SteamOS version is 16 gigs with 512 gigs of memory, of storage. Did I say RAM before? 16 gigs RAM, 1 terabyte storage, 16 gigs RAM, 1 terabyte, 512 gigabytes of storage, $100 cheaper for the Lenovo Legion Go S with the SteamOS. Also, I didn't know how it was going to go before, but the color difference actually is a difference between the hardware. So the black version is going to be the SteamOS version, and the white version is going to be the Windows version. Whether that is going to be the case into the future, I don't know. You can probably install SteamOS or Windows on either one. I don't see any reason why they would design the hardware to be drastically different where that's not going to work. Obviously, the some of the, like, the button, there's like a SteamOS button, but that's replaced with a Legion button on the Windows version, so there's a slight difference there. But besides that, also, I think there is I think they might have different CPUs. I didn't read it correctly. Oh, no, it's the... Okay, no, the different CPUs is there's also the Lenovo Legion Go, which has a different CPU. But I think the Windows and the SteamOS versions are going to be the same one. Also, it is going to be running, like, regular SteamOS. It is not going to be some, like, modified fork of SteamOS. That might happen in the future, I don't know. I would be very surprised if it doesn't have any, like, SteamOS, any Lenovo branding on it. But this is being made in, like, an actual partnership between Valve and Lenovo. It's not them just, like, taking it and be like, we're just going to run it now. So it is going to get actual SteamOS updates. Obviously, things that are relevant to only, like, the Steam Deck aren't going to be a thing on this device. But besides that, it's going to be regular old SteamOS, which I think is cool. I do genuinely think we are at a turning point for Linux gaming. I talked about this in the episode with Andrew last week. I think it was last week. Yeah. We are legitimately at a turning point for Linux gaming. This is now the second device running SteamOS. This is the second Linux gaming handheld. And I know that China has a lot of interest in Linux gaming handhelds as well. And not just Linux gaming handhelds, just Linux in general, wanting to move away from Windows. We are legitimately at a point where Linux actually has a chance to become popular. You know, people always talk about, ooh, it's the Windows EOL, it's time. People are going to switch to Linux. Happened with Windows 7, it happened with Windows 8. It's going to happen later this year with Windows 10. We'll talk about that a bit later. Because, yeah, 2025 is the end of Windows 10 as well. It's going to happen with Windows 11. People are like, oh my god, Windows 11 is EOL. People are going to switch to Linux now. No. People don't switch operating systems, they switch computers. And that's not going to change. But now there is another device that you can buy that I don't think it's for sale yet. But there will be another device that you can buy that is running Linux. And the difference between the Steam Deck and Lenovo's device is the rollout. Valve did not have distribution channels worldwide. They still don't have distribution channels worldwide. They only got Australia distribution a couple of months ago. There's a bunch of countries you still can't buy a Steam Deck in. Lenovo is different, though. Lenovo doesn't ship to every single country in the world, but I guarantee that most of you have probably seen some sort of Lenovo device in a tech store. Assuming, like, you know, it's actually a device that people in your country can afford and it makes sense to sell there. But Lenovo has much wider distribution channels, and you can pretty much get one anywhere. So I would be very surprised if we don't see Lenovo Legion Go S's showing up like in physical tech stores. Like, you go to, I don't know what exists in the US, but in Australia we have places like JB Hi-Fi or Harvey Norman, places like that. I would not be surprised if these actually start showing up in person. Or like gaming stores like EB Games or GameStop, right? I am very excited. I'm genuinely very excited because with more people being on Linux, and this isn't going to be the way that people wanted Linux to be adopted. People want, go through the desktop, install fucking Arch Linux or Fedora or Ubuntu, whatever. That was never going to happen. But if this is the way that we actually get problems dealt with on Linux, well, look, if this is the way it has to happen, I am more than happy about it. Now, I don't think an adoption of Steam Decks and then Lenovo's devices are going to convince companies like Adobe to bring their software over. But I do think once people try out SteamOS, try out Linux on these devices, and then try out the desktop mode and realize the desktop mode's actually pretty good as well, once that starts happening, you have more and more people just trying out Linux in general. That's when you start seeing those wider changes. So the first order of changes are the video game changes. Right now, there are still legitimate issues when it comes to anti-cheat, right? You know, you have your Fortnites that don't work. You have Apex Legends literally dropping support saying, there's too many cheaters on Linux. Not providing numbers. We can actually, like, we can look at how things go based on the actual cheating forums and what the actual cheaters and people making cheats seem to think about it. And there's just more cheaters on Windows. That's just a matter of fact. It's not even like it's like based on, like, even just per capita, there are just more cheaters on Windows because that's the platform that most people are on. Most people aren't going out of their way to install Linux to cheat. Granted, with kernel level anti-cheats, it is easier to cheat on Linux. It's just people are not on Linux, so there's just less people cheating in general. But if adoption of SteamOS is how we have to see things like kernel level anti-cheat actually happening, right? I don't want kernel level anti-cheat, but it's not going away. So if it's something like, oh, you need to install the SteamOS kernel because this has Vanguard support, this has EAC support, this has BattlEye support, and this is the way you actually get Linux gaming fully done, I don't want to have to install a custom kernel. However, I don't see any other way that this can really happen. That I do think is the best possible chance of it going down. Obviously, a swap to server side and adopting GMs is the better solution, but like that ship is just gone. It's not gonna happen, and any ask for it to happen is just gonna fall on deaf ears. I would much rather focus on things that are much more likely than just like throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. So, with this device being a thing, hopefully it convinces other companies to try it. Hopefully this device sells well. I want this to be a good device, right? I hope... Shush. I hope this has reasonable performance, judging by the chip, and I don't see any reason why it wouldn't, unless it thermal throttles. It looks like it's laid out pretty much like a Steam Deck. It doesn't have touchpads by the looks of it. It has a finger... I think that's a fingerprint reader. Is that a fingerprint reader? Wait, maybe the Steam Deck version... Wait, actually, no, I think... Does it have a touchpad? I'm not seeing The Verge commenting on it. That looks like a touchpad under the thumbstick. If that's not a touchpad, I'm very confused what that is. Yeah, I actually have no idea what that would be if it's not a touchpad. But this, it has a, wait, I just looked at the D-pad. It's got a Xbox, for anyone just listening, it's got an Xbox D-pad, so it's got a circle D-pad. Does Xbox still have that? I actually don't remember. I use my, yeah, it does. Yeah. So, it's the, like, it's hard to tell. Here we go. It's like a full-on circle instead of just being individual buttons, which is what, like, both Nintendo and Sony do with their D-pads, which is just objectively better. I don't care what anyone has to say. Like, the D-pad on both of those is just objectively better. It's gotten a lot better. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot better than it used to be back on the original Xbox and the 360, but it's still not great. But besides that, it pretty much looks like a Steam Deck. I don't... Oh, it does have back buttons. For anyone who is a back button enjoyer, it does have those as well, which is cool. I don't really use them that much because I've never really gotten used to them. I wanted a SCUF controller when I was a kid, but I never got one, so I never learned how back buttons work, and now I just find them kind of inconvenient to use, and it's not my thing. But they should be there for people who want them. So, I'm curious to see where this goes. I want to see if a third company does this. I want to see if there's, even if not, like, a new device, official support from one of the other companies, right? Like an official support from Asus. Like, you can now install SteamOS on the Asus ROG Ally. Things like that. I think just even taking that step would be really, really big. Now, when it comes to SteamOS, I talked about this in a recent video. I did a react video to a LTT video where Linus was taking SteamOS and then installing it onto just generic PC hardware. Now, the system he had was basically a perfect system for installing Linux. It was a 5600G, which is an AMD CPU, and a AMD 7600, something like that. Basically, full AMD system, perfect system to install Linux onto. But he didn't install just generic Linux. He took the SteamOS like recovery image and installed that on the system. The Steam Deck recovery image. This one right here. That one? That direct link? I think it is. Yeah. Which is meant to be used on a Steam Deck to, you know, recover the Steam Deck if there is, like, you know, some problem there, if for whatever reason, corruption, things like that. But you can install on just generic hardware if you want to. It's just not pleasant, and it's not intended for that, and it's kind of jank, and you shouldn't do it. But you can. I do think that SteamOS is very much it is a red herring for people who don't daily drive Linux. In the comment section for that video, there were a lot of people saying, "Oh, Brody, you just know what you're doing with Linux. You know how to fix problems with gaming, and you know fix problems with Linux." There are no problems. Like the problems that people have, especially with, and this is why I prefaced it with what I was saying in that video, with the machine that Linus was running in that video. There are no issues. That is a full AMD system. If you install Ubuntu, Mint, Fedora, even Fedora, which is a problem with, like, NVIDIA cards, single thing you install, it's part of Mesa, it's part of the upstream kernel. There are no problems with that system. Like, at all. Like, that is the perfect Linux machine. It entirely works out of the box. Now, obviously, distros like Arch and Gentoo and things like that, because they are minimal distros, they don't install things you need, but like any of the others, they are going to install everything you need, especially if it's intended for gaming, like an Endeavor or a Chimera OS or a Catchy or something like that. Like, there's no problem. Now, obviously, NVIDIA can be issues, NVIDIA can be problematic. Now, also, another thing I was saying, I said NVIDIA can be like a bit of faffing about, and people are like, "Oh my god, that means NVIDIA cards don't work on Linux." No, you fucking morons. It does work. It just requires installing a package. Like, I don't know how Linux, how Windows users can be happy with installing some, like, fucking random GUI installer nonsense. Like, you have no idea what it's called. And it's like, oh, but installing like one well-documented package, like, you just know what version of GPU you're on. It literally lists out the versions you need, and you just install the package, and then it just works. Like, I don't understand how for some people this is so excessively complex that, like, it just their brain just breaks having to install a single file when you have to do the same thing on Windows as well. Just the only difference is you type it instead of just clicking a button. I don't know why. Look, I will never understand the mind of a Windows user. But, like, specifically with the system in the video, AMD, even if it was full Intel system, no issues. Everything is upstreamed. Everything is good. Everything is working. You just install your distro, and you install Steam, and it works. We are not in 2019 anymore. We'd have to go and install a bunch of additional nonsense. You'd have to go and, like, change some environment variables. That's not where we are anymore. Like, there are so many people who their opinion of Linux gaming is Proton when it released, or Linux gaming 4 years ago, and have no idea the actual state of things today, and think they do. And this is the same problem I have with, like, Wayland, and I have with everything else. People try things 5 years ago, and they're like, "Oh, that's the state of things." Like, no, that was 5 years ago. Try it again. See what it's like, and you realize you're a moron. We're in a very ranty state today. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I had to see a lot of comments from people who just refuse to use their brain. And again, in that video, I specifically also said, don't use Arch Linux. Just don't. Don't do that. People are like, "Oh my god, he's saying that Linux is too hard to use." No, I'm saying don't use Arch. Because if I say use Arch because Arch is easy, because it actually is, and people are just fucking stupid, like, people are like, "Oh my god, he's gatekeeping Linux." He's like, "Oh, he's saying that Arch Linux is the only correct way to use it." like you can, with the mind of the Windows user, you cannot win, because either Arch Linux is too hard if you tell people to use Arch, or if you tell people not to use Arch, they're going to think you're saying that Linux is too hard because you're saying don't use Arch Linux. There's no winning with some people, right? Like, there are some people who just don't want Linux to be good. And I don't know why. Like, they don't have any vested interest in Windows. They are not Microsoft shareholders. They're not Microsoft developers. There is literally no reason for them to have any vested interest in Windows being popular. None at all. But they still do. Like, they still do. And I don't get it. I think it's just like it's the culty team nonsense thing that everyone has. Like, I've said it before, right? If you think Windows is better to use Windows. If you think macOS is better to use macOS. If you think Linux is better to use Linux. And I've specifically said many times, I don't give a shit what distro you use. Pick a distro. It doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, you can do everything you want on that distro. I don't care what people use. What I care about is when people just blatantly lie about the state of different things, because I don't know, they just want to lie. They just want to be in this stupid team sport thing where the thing that they use, the choice they made 15 years ago, has to be the correct choice. Even when it's not a choice they made, it's just a choice that another person made for them, and now it's just like, oh, this is the thing that I do, right? People are going to be tribal with every single thing they do, whether it's the operating system they use, the game they play, the software they use, the sports team they support, anything like that. People are just going to be tribal, even in places where it just doesn't make any sense to be tribal. I get it with a sports team, because, social life's tied up in that. There's like an actual, you go to their game, you buy their merch, you want the thing that you directly support. You've like your family, your friends are all around. Like, I get that. Like, that makes sense. Like, it's still stupid, but I at least get it. But when it's like, oh, I bought a computer that has Windows on it. Okay, sure. And I get it with video games as well, right? Because if it's like a gacha game, like, you buy a bunch of waifus, the waifus are going to be deleted if the game ever goes EOL, or if it's a competitive shooter, right? No one cares if you're rank 1 in the world in a game that has 50 players. But they do care if it's got 500,000 daily active players. Yeah. As I said, we are in a very ranty mood today. Since we are talking about video games, I do want to talk a little bit about Marvel Rivals. I've been playing a lot of Marvel Rivals recently. It's very fun. I do highly recommend it. This is one of the few anti-cheat games that do work on Linux. It just doesn't just work on Linux. They actually had an issue recently where they were accidentally banning Steam Deck and Linux users, and they released a like public note being like, we fucked up. See if I can find it actually. Marvel Rivals Steam Deck apology. Do you have the post here, IGN? Okay, where's the... just show me the post. Show me the post. I want... someone has a... Reddit. No. That's linking to the IGN post. Gaming on Linux. Okay, here we go. They don't have the picture, but it has the full quote here. Basically, people were getting falsely flagged as cheaters. I don't know why. Probably something about the environment the game's running in. Something weird like that. People got banned, and they're like, we fucked up. We're going to unban these people. And also, not just that. If we go to the Steam page for the Marvel Rivals... It is marked as Steam Deck playable, not Steam Deck verified. And the main reason for that is they have a launcher. Remove the launcher, NetEase. Please, it does not need to be there. It serves absolutely zero function. When it's like, I get a launcher that has like a login screen. The launcher for Marvel Rivals, the only thing on the launcher is a button to click play. So you click play in Steam, the launcher opens, you click play on the launcher. Why is the launcher there? What purpose does it serve? It doesn't. Delete it. It does like advertise the current battle pass, which is also advertised in the game. Remove the launcher. Become Steam Deck verified. It's so stupid. I don't get it. I don't know why. I genuinely don't know why they have it. The reason I want to talk about Marvel Rivals though is, man, this game is so much fun, and the new season, like the new season is out this weekend, I believe. I haven't looked at the like buffs and nerfs yet, but we do know the new characters that are coming out. And we do know the new skins we are getting. So it's adding the Fantastic Four. So far, we've seen 2 of the characters. We've seen Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman. We have a hybrid tank DPS, which I think is really cool, because there's a lot of people bitching about, we need role queue in the game. No, you don't. No, you don't. Nope. So they're like, you know what? You're not going to get role queue in the game. So instead of that, what we're going to do is we're just going to add a DPS that plays like a tank. Yeah. So no role queue. Piss off with that. And then Invisible Woman is a support. Pretty much just like hard support. If you've played the game, she kind of plays like half of Cloak and Dagger. Yeah, kind of like half like the healer side of Cloak and Dagger. I'm curious, and also has like an ability where she can like, her ult is AoE invisible the team, which I think is actually kind of neat. I'll see how that, we'll have to see how that actually goes. I think there's going to be some fun counters for that. Probably you just Iron Man ult into it and everyone just dies anyways. Just blow up the entire circle. Who cares if they're invisible? Yeah. Or Magneto ult, or Moon Knight ult, or Jeff ult. It's probably not as good as I initially thought it was. And then for Mr. Fantastic, he's basically Luffy. Like, if you were to add Luffy into Marvel Rivals, like, his moveset, like, obviously they both stretch, sure. But, like, his moveset basically is just what you would expect from Luffy. He can, like, you know, his main attack is obviously stretching out his arms. He's got an ability where he can, like, grab a teammate and then, like, big buff up his body and, like, block damage on them. His ult is pretty much just the way that, Winter Soldier's ult works, where you kill a target, you slam down to the ground, kill a target, slam, like, it just keeps slamming. Difference with Winter Soldier is you can use your gun in the middle of the ult. With Mr. Fantastic, it's literally just you slam, you kill them, slam, kill. But it's also a lot bigger of a range than it is Winter Soldier, so it kind of, like, makes sense in that way. But, like, there's a bunch of really cool skins in the Battle Pass as well. The Battle Pass, for anyone who doesn't know, also you can see XQC's face here, because the only pictures we have of the Battle Pass, of the entire thing, are from his stream. But, what was I saying? The Battle Pass actually works really well in this game. So there is both the free tier and the paid tier, and if you get the paid tier, you permanently unlock the Battle Pass, which, thank fuck, this is why I don't like games that have battle passes. It's like, oh yeah, let's sell you content and then delete the content if you don't unlock everything in a set amount of time. Nope, not here. If you don't pay for the battle pass, it is removed, but also you shouldn't expect to get like free content, right? Like, yeah. So in Battle Pass there is the Blood Moon Knight skin, which honestly I think was really cool. Which is kind of funny because there was the Moon Knight, I think it was gold. You had to get to like gold, and you would get a Moon Knight skin, which is basically the exact same skin, but instead of the red accent is the gold accent. Honestly, I think Blood Moon Knight looks way cooler anyway. I'm 100% going to be using the Bounty Hunter Rocket Raccoon. No fucking questions asked. This is gonna be my permanent skin, probably forever on Rocket Raccoon. There is another penny skin. It's the penny skins we have so far are basically just filling out the Ava trio. So her main skin is like Asuka's Ava. Then you had the purple one, and now we have Ray's Ava. I do wonder what else is going to be done with Penny after the fact. It's fine. Like it's not a crazy skin. It's just Penny with a blue mech, which is cool, I guess, but like nothing that crazy. This is this is such a really cool Magneto skin though. Oh, I don't play a ton of Magneto, but I might. Honestly, I really like most of the skins in the Battle Pass this time. We have a Namor skin here. I've not played Namor, but it's cool. It's one of the like I think it's one of the weaker skins, to be honest. That is the gallery card, if you really care about those. I don't really care about gallery cards. The Iron Man skin, though. Like, this isn't even Iron Man at this point. Like, what is this? This is just like a dude. This is like a dude in armor. It has nothing to do with Iron Man, but the Blood Edge armor is really cool. I don't know, I do like the default armor, and I have to see how this actually looks with, like, using the ults, using his E, things like that. But even so, like, yeah, I'll probably just unlock it. Adam Warlock, I think, I do think the Adam Warlock one is pretty cool. Scarlet Witch is, Scarlet Witch is just kind of Scarlet Witch. It's not great. It's not bad, right? But it's, like... It's not that different from the base skin, which is fine, right? Like, it's cool, but like, it kind of just is what it is. Now, the Wolverine skin. Woo! The Vampire Hunter Wolverine. This is so fucking cool. Man, this skin is so stupid. I love it so much. You're gonna see so many people running around this skin, and like honestly, if they keep cooking with skins like this, this game is going to be very popular, right? Now there are some characters that need some skins, like Squirrel Girl. That would be nice. But you know, I get it, right? I get it. I'm happy they didn't add another fucking Spider-Man skin in though. Spider-Man's got enough really good skins, because also got a couple of skins from the being over on PS5. You get like a bonus skin. Marvel Rivals Maker skin. There's also skins being sold specifically for the new characters right off the start. I do think the Mr. Fantastic Maker skin is pretty fucking cracked, though. I love that this picture of Mr. Fantastic is being used everywhere. Like, what I really like about this game is they're willing to just make things kind of like dopey. It's like, you know, it's just fun, right? They're not trying to take it too seriously. When Mr. Fantastic uses his ult, he's just like, fantastic! And just like slams on the ground. I also like the Malice Invisible Woman as well. I'll see if I can find a better demo of it. Malice Invisible Woman Marvel Rivals. Is this it? Yeah, here is a longer video demo of it. And everyone's look, everyone in this game, everyone in this game is a little bit stacked. just a little bit. Man, look, I don't know how long this game's gonna go for. Like how long it's gonna like be popular for. But if we look at SteamDB, at least from my understanding, the player count hasn't dropped at all since launch day. Where's charts? Charts. Yeah. So here is the 1 week chart. Let's go to the month chart. It dipped around... Okay, it dipped Christmas Day. Wow. Who would have guessed it would go down on that day? So it went down a bit on that day and then climbed back up. We are a little bit lower than where the game first launched. Like, what, 20,000 players less than launch? And this is after a month, right? This is, like, where did the chart go? Like, this is crazy. And then there's the new season starting soon, so imagine it's probably gonna, like, pop off a bit more there as well. Yeah, if you've not tried Marvel Rivals yet, even if, like, I'm not a big shooter person, but it's on it, like, it doesn't really, like, it's a shooter per se, but it's, like, a hero shooter. It's fun. Just give it a try. See what it's like. If you don't like it, hey, it's free. Don't just uninstall it. It's free. You don't have to pay for it. But hey, it works on Linux, and that's cool. I want more games to work on Linux. Based NetEase, which is, imagine saying that, right? Like, this is the other crazy thing. How has this happened where, like, Chinese gotcha garbage developers are now like the developers you look to be like, yeah, this is where we get the good game. Remember, fucking, they made Diablo Immortal. Right? Like, how has this happened? How has it happened that the Western game industry has fallen so far that companies that you would look to that would in the past be like, oh, you look at like Korean developers or Chinese developers or Japanese developers, and yeah, obviously you've always had your Capcoms and companies like that, but there are so many companies who their entire existence has been, well, let's just make gacha games. Let's make MapleStory. Let's make, like, MapleStory is actually, like, pretty much the what do you call it? The singularity. It is the singularity of microtransactions. It is where basically everything began. But you go from that to now seeing companies like, you know, Shift Up made Stellar Blade. You had Game Science with Black Myth. You have NetEase with Marvel Rivals. You have all of the companies that Tencent owns. Tencent, like, Tencent is what Microsoft was, like, 10 years ago, where Microsoft would just buy up companies and let them just do their thing. Not touch them, not do anything. It's like, oh, you make us money? I don't care. Do it. Literally do whatever you want. Number go up, number good. And that's where Tencent is now. Like, they just... I've shown this list before. Companies owned by Tencent. Where's the list? Like, okay, let's forget about Ubisoft. But like, 35% of Epic is owned by Tencent. 35% of Shift Up. Wait, they own Miniclip? Okay, sure. Like, Grinding Gear Games, Riot Games, right? Like, they just buy shit and they're like, hey, just do your thing. Make us money. And then you're like, ah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Great. Good. Yeah, awesome. Keep doing that. And I also kind of talked about this last time. I'm really happy to see, like, I am happy to see these developers actually branching out and trying things. Because, yeah, there was this idea of, oh, it's Chinese company, it's going to be gacha game. But, like, you're actually seeing companies realize that, oh, people outside of China do actually want to see, like, a game from a Chinese perspective. There is the, what is it called? The game about the, it's a Chinese developer that made a game about Texas being sold to Japan. Showa American Story. Yeah. Showa American Story comes out sometime this year. And it's a single-player game made by a Chinese studio about Japan. Oh, sorry, about Texas being sold to Japan. Like, yeah, sure, whatever. Okay. It is by Necom. What has Necom actually done? I don't know this studio. Holy shit, I have never seen a picture of the main character with his chest showing. Holy shit, that is actually, that is a gorilla level of chest hair. Necom. Absolutely fucking nothing on Steam. Are they a mobile developer? Games. No, they have just actually made basically nothing. What the? Okay, sure. Right. And then there was that, is it Lost Soul Aside? Yeah. Lost Soul Aside. This was started by was it a guy in China or Korea? I'm actually forgetting. China. Yeah. There is this game called Lost Soul Aside. It was started by one dude, like, when was it start? I think like 10 years ago? First trailer in 2016. And then he got funding from Sony to expand out the game. And even back then, like, the game looked pretty good. It's basically Noctis as the main character. So you can find, yeah, here's the newest trailer. And it looks really fun. I'm gonna play it because it's just like, keep doing this, right? Even if every fucking game we make is just stupid, over the top, nonsense action game, fine. That is my kind of game. That is exactly what I want. And maybe it'll get boring eventually. It's not boring yet. It's not boring at all. Just keep making more of them. If this is how China and Korea and everyone else like that is going to, like, step away and branch into single player games, good. Make more of it. Maybe make some Souls, like give us something like anime Dark Souls, like Code Vein, or what was the other one? AI Limit. Yeah, this is the other one. This was announced during the, what do you call it? The Game Awards, that one. If you watch the trailer for this, you can already see with the role there, it literally is just anime Dark Souls. It is slow, it is methodical. This is Dark Souls 1, the anime game, and I'm more than happy with that. That backstab is a Dark Souls backstab. This game looks like a Dark Souls 1 mod. That's fine with me. Again, if you want to make action RPGs, you want to make games that are just Dark Souls, that are just more Black Myth Wukong, that's more Stellar Blade, fine with me. I am not going to complain. As long as they're good, bring them on. Oh, man. Actually, one more thing whilst we're on the topic of gaming. This is actually related to what I was talking about earlier. I should have brought it up earlier as well. GeForce Now app to Steam Deck. It's bringing a native app to the Steam Deck. Now, there already was a FlatHub GeForce Now. So there already was a third-party application for GeForce Now available on FlatHub. It's just an Electron app, and from my understanding, it works. But now we're going to be seeing something official from Nvidia. And not just like, you know, you often see a lot of these streaming services be like, yeah, the Linux version, that one's going to suck. So, you know, you try to stream from Netflix or Amazon Prime, and it's like, yes, would you like to watch 480p? No, I would not like to watch that, actually. So this is going to support 4K resolution, 60 FPS, HDR. Obviously, some of those things are not supported on the Steam Deck itself. It does not have a 4K screen. The base version does not have HDR, but there is the OLED version, and 60 FPS is fine. But this is if you plug it into a TV that supports that, or a monitor, or whatever else you want to plug it into that, actually supports that. But this is nice to have, because this does kind of bridge the gap for certain games, right? Because I think games like Fortnite and things like that are available on GeForce Now. So through that, you would actually be able to play that on the Steam Deck. Presumably, this isn't going to be an Infinity Nikki situation where it only works on SteamOS on the Steam Deck. For if you don't know, a lot of people initially thought that that game only worked on the Steam Deck because it locked it to the Steam Deck CPU. Turns out if you install Bazite on that system, it also won't work. So it was checking something on the Steam Deck, probably like a release file, something like that, to be like, is this actually the Steam Deck? Is this SteamOS? And then works. I haven't seen any further mentions of this, and I really doubt they would be like, this works on the Steam Deck, but not desktop Linux, right? Like that. They don't even use the term Linux in their blog post. They only mention Steam Deck. So my hope is that this is going to work on desktop Linux as well. Imagine advertising your thing with Veilguard. Beautiful. wait, how much did they pay to get Veilguard here? So we have Baldur's Gate, Black Myth, Stalker 2, and then just Veilguard. Yeah, that feels like a paid promotion as opposed to intentionally chosen. Could be wrong, but it feels like it. But yeah, this sort of like bridges the gap, makes it a lot more possible to like fully swap over. Now, obviously, cloud gaming. It's not a perfect replacement, and yeah, that would be very, very right. But it's better than nothing. If your options are no Fortnite or cloud gaming Fortnite, look, it's better, right? It's something, and that's better than nothing. And if it's not for like games like Fortnite, having the option to do GeForce Now officially supported by Nvidia is also really good. Yeah. Let's move on to something else that we have in here. Oh, actually, let's talk about the Windows 10 EOL thing, because that actually is kind of relevant. In case you don't know, Windows 10 is going EOL in October of this year, 2025. October? End of October. Wait, does it go EOL last day of October or in the start of October? Windows 10 EOL. It doesn't really matter. It's like 20 days apart. No, middle of it. 14th of October, 2025. So middle of October, Windows 10 will go EOL. Now, supposedly, 60% of active PCs are using Windows 10. Let's see what the Steam numbers are like, actually. Steam hardware survey. I actually got one on my Linux system the other day, so The number is slightly higher for Linux, the extra 1 vote. So right now, 0.15% of people are still on Windows 7. Jesus Christ. Windows 10 is 42.39% of the 96% on Windows. So that's like 40-ish percent? Yeah, somewhere in that range. That is on the gaming market. Most people have moved over to Windows 11, but it's not everyone. There's still a lot of people that are on Windows 10, and I don't think it's going to change drastically by the end of the year. So I don't know what Microsoft's plan is going to be here. I don't know if they're going to say, well, let's push out a free update to people. So they did sort of rescind the restrictions on Windows 11 installation. The current way they've rescinded it is basically you can install it, but you won't get updates. And like that's an officially supported thing they've mentioned on their blog now. I don't know if they're going to roll that back even further just to get more people on, and then maybe like roll out like an update prompt that's like, hey, update to Windows 11 now, and it just, or even just, they've done this before, roll it into a automatic update. So I think back during Windows 8 to 10, some people actually got rolled over during a Windows update. Which, look, I would not, like, hold, what's the word? I'm not, say they would never do that again. Okay. It would not surprise me if they tried to do something, like that. It would be very, very, very amusing. But this happens every time that a Windows EOL comes up. Okay, you know what? Let's actually go and do this. Windows 8 EOL. I think Windows 8 was a bit different. I think most people moved to Windows 10 by then. So January 10th, 2023. Let's actually go and check the Steam hardware survey. I believe Windows 7 was a lot worse than the Windows 8 one, because most people weren't on Windows 8 anyway. So let's go 2023. Let's go into the February survey. Or I guess into February should have the January results theoretically. Yes? No? What month is this? That is showing the December result. No, that's not what I wanted. I literally went to February. Why are those results not out? Let's go to March then. Yes? No? Show me the money. What do you got? There we go. January 2023. Okay. So. Yeah, this was a very different one. So, most people moved over to Windows 10. Wait, this is not right. Oh, no, that is, okay, no, that's the right one. Yeah. So most people moved over to Windows 10, and Windows 11 was already a thing when Windows 8 went EOL. And most people didn't use Windows 8 anyway. Let's try it for, this will actually be a better one. Let's go to the Windows 7 EOL, because that one definitely will show my point. 2020, okay. It's just Windows 8 was such a controversial release that people just didn't. People did not like that version. People didn't swap to it when it came out. People didn't swap to it when Windows 10 came out. They just jumped straight from 7 to 10. Archive.org. Do not let me down. Oh, they changed the colors at one point. Didn't realize that. Okay, it actually wasn't as bad back then. So this is February 2020. So Windows 7 still had 12% of the market share. But Windows 10 Wait, wait. When did Windows 10 drop? Hold up. This is the Windows 7 EOL. Windows 10 release date. 2015. Okay, I guess they released things in a weird order, a weird time gap. I guess there was a lot more gap between it. But yeah, even when Windows 7 went EOL, it was only 12%. Windows 10 took up the majority of the market share. So it's still a lot there, but that's nothing like it is today. Today, it is triple that market share. Also, look at this, in case you haven't seen it. Linux market share back then was 0.83%, with OS X being at 3.15%. Now it's closing in on the opposite. OS X is 1.6, with Linux being at 2.29. That is kind of crazy that Linux has more gaming market share now than OS X. Obviously, people don't buy an Apple machine to game, but there are people who game who have an Apple machine. They'll play like fucking Stardew Valley, Rocket League, whatever, League of Legends, things like that. That's not on Steam, but like you get my drift. People do game on their MacBook, or like their Apple desktop, whatever the whatever they're called. It's just, yeah. Anyway, this is a problem for this is very much a problem for our friends over at Microsoft. And how they're going to deal with it, well, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. I honestly have no idea how they're going to address this. But it's something they're going to have to address, because once Windows 10 goes EOL, more and more software is just going to start dropping Windows 10 support. Even like, you know, there's 40% of people on Windows 10. Doesn't matter. If it's EOL, developers are going to say, okay, well, it's EOL. No point supporting it. And we're actually, I saw this one the other day. This isn't Windows 10 being dropped, but it's Windows. It's still people trying to like keep Windows 7 around. So this is over on the OpenMW project. This is an open source engine for getting Morrowind running. Sorry, they weren't on Windows 7. They were on 8.1, and they were complaining that the launcher does not work because it relies on DX12. Not because the game does. The game is an OpenGL game, but because they were using Qt6, apparently Qt6 on Windows uses DX12. And they're like, oh, you should have kept Qt5 around. Why are you not keeping Qt5 around? The game's gonna work forever. And they're just like, fuck you. We're not supporting a dead operating system. Use something else. And the thing is, they actually dropped support for it when the operating system went EOL. Like, this is not a new thing they did. They dropped it like 3 years ago, but this is some new person who is trying to run OpenMW on their old Windows 8.1 system. And who out there is using 8.1? Like, no, 8.1 wasn't popular when it came out. It wasn't popular when it was dying. Who is using 8.1? To be fair, I used 8.1 only because it was the current version at the time. I swapped from Windows 7 straight to 8.1. I never used at least I never used on my home system the base version of 8. I did use 8 at my high school. I believe they had migrated over to Windows 8, but outside of that, no. That is a no from me for Windows 8. When I saw videos on it at the time, I was like, nah, that's not for me. Definitely not doing that. Nope. I'm good. So, good luck, Microsoft, dealing with this problem of people not migrating off your EOL operating systems. Imagine this in the world of Linux, right? Like, imagine there were people who were like, oh, I hate... Yeah, you know what? A great example of this, actually. Imagine when Imagine when Ubuntu swapped from GNOME over to Unity. People were like, well, I don't want to use the Unity desktop. I'm going to keep using fucking whatever version, Ubuntu 12.04 or something until 2020 or something like that. Or like the swap from Unity back to GNOME. People are like, oh, I'm gonna keep using the fucking 1604 until 2024. Like, this is just not a thing that happens in the Linux world. Now, there are people, don't get me wrong, there are absolutely people who don't upgrade their systems. This is there's a blog post from Linux Mint from years ago. I wonder if I can find it. I think I did a video on it back when it came out. Parody Robertson, Linux Mint update. I feel like I did a video on it when it came out, but I could have forgotten. It was like 4 years ago I did this video. If I had done the video. I don't even remember making that one. I did a reply to a Jay's 2 cents tweet. What the fuck is this video? Oh, he was asking why people game on Linux or why people use Linux. Holy shit, that was a long ass time ago. Completely forgot about that. Wait. Garden O'Brien did a video on that as well at the same time. Maybe I didn't do a video on it. I thought I did. Linux Mint users don't update. I'm not going to find it, am I? There was this blog post the author of Mint put out a long... Wait, is this it? Wait, is this the register talking about it? I think this might be the article, actually. Yes, it is. Update your computer. So, there was a very high propensity of people on Mint who were running a really old version. They were, like, the guess was 5 to 30% were using Linux Mint 17 in 2021, which went EOL in 2019. I have no doubt the number is probably around about the same now, if not more, with more people using Linux. Obviously not on that old of a version, but people not updating their system. Yeah, update your system, please. I know people talk about, oh, Windows Update is annoying, and it gets in the way of me doing things. Yeah, it does. It pesters people way too much. If you tell it to go away, if you tell it you're busy, it's gonna be like, okay, you're not busy anymore, time to restart. Like, if you do that enough times, it actually will just restart in the middle of doing work, which is obviously very, very annoying. At the same time, though, even though Linux will not pester you in the same way, it does require being updated just as much. So, actually go and update your system. Make sure you're doing so. Don't just update and then not restart. Actually restart your system as well. I've spent a great many years trying to dispel the idea that Linux never needs to be restarted. This is a myth. It is bullshit. It is based on knowledge from the server space. Even then, it wasn't true. What it was is people who are like posting about, oh, I have 700 days uptime. I have 1300 days uptime. And people were like using it as this fucking online dick measuring contest to just say, I can keep my system online longer. It was never a good idea to do, even though systems need to be updated, even if for the very minimum of just making sure the system can be turned off and turned back on again. Because there will come a point where you don't have a choice and it will need to be restarted. There'll be a power outage, and if you're dealing with a server, then your backup generator will go out of power, your UPS will go out of power, and then you're like, well, I don't know if the system can turn back on. I don't know if this can be recovered. You need to make sure things can actually be recovered. Just that is a bare minimum. Very bare minimum. Yes. Oh, man. Oh, actually, so I did a video on Ghosty the other day, the Ghosty terminal, and I was relatively critical of the terminal. I was relatively critical of the main thing is I am sick of developers who are outside of Linux thinking libadwaita is a Linux toolkit. I'm not even gonna, like, I know GNOME people just don't want to have this discussion. I don't fucking care anymore. libadwaita is a GNOME toolkit. It's not a Linux toolkit. I'm not going to call it a Linux toolkit anymore. So I'm sick of seeing developers getting conned into thinking that libadwaita is like a generic way to build a GUI on Linux. And then they do it, and then people are like, this doesn't integrate into my desktop. I'm one of those people. I'm going to lead that charge every single fucking time now. I'm sick of it. But the Ghosty dev saw a lot of discussion about that. He also may have seen at least part of my video. I don't know if he's seen the entire thing, but he definitely said he saw part of it. And let's see if I can find the actual response. Here we go. Mitchell Hashimoto. So he's actually added in proper server-side decorations. It's all working well now. And if you're dealing with a desktop that isn't GNOME, it will default to server-side decorations. Thank you. Thank you, Mitchell. Very much appreciated. I don't know why I'm not following you. X is weird. That's weird. Yeah. Once we have a menu that, like, brings all the hamburger functionality into that as well, honestly, I think Ghosty will be a much, much better terminal. But just having it defaulting to server-side decorations without having to go and, like, fiddle with some settings is massive, right? It's such a nice thing. And I don't want the Ghosty terminal to fail. It seems like a really cool project. It seems like a great terminal if we're dealing with GNOME especially, which traditionally hasn't really had that much in the way of good terminals. Nowadays, there is, what is it called? Petixis. I don't know how to say it, but I'll say it like that. This is a fork of the GNOME terminal, my understanding. And basically, it's just taking GNOME term and then making it not bad. it pretty much should just be the default GNOME terminal. It's just GNOME term, but better. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point it actually does become it, because it's also made by some of the core GNOME developers. But yeah, traditionally there just hasn't been good options on GNOME, and now that provides one. But if this can become a good option outside of GNOME as well, hey, that's also cool. Even though outside of GNOME, there is a lot of good options, right? You have your Alacrities, your console. Yes, I'll do a video on console at some point because you fucking bug me about it. Brody, why don't you do a video on console? Console's the best terminal ever. I'll do it at some point. Like, you have terminals like Kitty. You have, over on the macOS side, obviously you have things like iTerm, which is really good. You have bullshit web terminals if you want to run something like Warp, if you're one of those people, but if you're a normal person, you know, other terminals that are not that. But I never really want a project to fail, right? When I am critical of a project, I am critical because it's something that I think has potential. And I'm critical because I see that potential being wasted with bad choices. And at the end of the day, right, if people don't like my criticisms, they think, oh, well, the way I'm doing it is good, I'm not going to change it. That's fine. I don't care. At some point, I just stop paying attention to the project, right? Like, when a project makes enough stupid choices, this is a really good way to look at everything, right? the opposite of love is not hatred, it is apathy. Because if you hate something, you still care enough to be angry about it. You want it to be good. You want it to be better. Even if you're not willing to admit it, if you're going to spend your time getting angry about something, it's because a part of you actually wants to see it do better. Now, in its current state, you might want to see it burn to the ground and then be built back up, but you still care about it. Whereas once you become apathetic about something, like OpenSUSE is a fucking fantastic example, actually. So, for anyone who doesn't know, OpenSUSE is cooked, like very, very cooked. Is this the current post? Yeah. Okay, so OpenSUSE is running a board election, and they had, I think the original date was like sometime during December. Board vote 2024. Yeah. So, is this update regarding... Is this the original one? Where is the original... Where's the original announcement? That's... Okay, yeah, here we go. Here we go. So, I was even earlier than I thought. So, the original voting was going to start in... Or the announcement and then open membership was going to start in November 15th. Then they had to revise the schedule. And the final candidate list was going to be on December 14th. No one stepped up. No one. Not a single person. Now they revised it again. And the final candidate list will be on the 18th. And my guess is they're just going to have no one. Because no one cares anymore. People are just... This is what apathy looks like. This isn't hatred. This isn't the opposite of love. Oh, sorry. This is the opposite of love. This isn't hatred. Because people would be, you know, putting their names in, throwing their names in, just to, like, troll them. But people just don't care anymore. They're just like... Okay, right? Like, it's just there. And that is a fucking hard state to get from. Because you can convince someone who hates your project to start liking it again. You can make good decisions, you can change things that people like, and you can change someone's opinion. But when someone is apathetic, when someone is not paying attention anymore, that is a really, really hard place to get out of. And I don't know if OpenSUSE is going to run an election. Honestly, my expectation is they just take the existing board members, they change the rules and just say, well, the people on the board can just stay on the board because they can't, like, they legitimately cannot run an election as it currently stands. So... yeah, good luck, I guess. Honestly, like, I could just throw my name in and I would probably get elected. There is a part of me that wants to, like, that actually wants to just troll it and take over the board with me and some of my, like, followers. Like, this is how cooked they are. In the same as, like, the Xorg board, right? Like, no one cares. No one cares to run it. And... apathy, it's just, again, it's apathy. Apathy is so much worse than hatred. Speaking of hatred, we are mega cooked, boys. We are insanely mega cooked. So... if you've not been paying attention to the world of AI, you might think, 6 fingers, 2 left feet, 5 eyes, wow, it looks so obviously fake. Here's something I found over on the r/ChatGPT subreddit. This girl's not real. This is fake. This is AI generated. Now, if you know what you're looking for, there's some weird parallaxing that happens in the background. She ages a little bit. The lighting's a little bit off. Her hair doesn't move entirely in a natural way. It kind like the strands kind of like fade in a way that doesn't really make any sense. But like, if you take a still frame of this, this looks real. Here's Bumble. I'm pretty sure pretty much all of these profiles are fake. People reverse image search the images. Most of these came from Reddit. These girls are not real. If you legitimately think that you can tell AI from real photos or real art, you need to stop deluding yourself. You need to stop pretending that you know what you're talking about, because you are going to get scammed. And not just you are going to get scammed. There were people who were getting convinced a couple of months ago with, you know, like, ooh, here is some, like, a common one you would see. It's like, here's this amazing artist, this amazing artist from Nigeria. Look at this child. He's carved some crazy impossible carving, and it obviously looked like AI, but boomers were getting caught by it. Now it's not going to be boomers getting caught by it. If you see this picture, this looks real. There is nothing about this image, at least like scrolling past it without examining every little pixel of the image, nothing stands out here. And this, as has been said before, this is the worst it is ever going to be. What you see today is the worst AI is ever going to be. So if you know people who are, you know, somewhat less tech savvy, who aren't paying attention to the advancements happening in AI, please make sure they know what's happening. If anything seems slightly sus, if anything seems a little bit off, a deal seems too good to be true, make sure they know what's happening. Make sure, if you can, do a reverse image search. Here's the thing though, reverse image searching makes a lot more sense when people were like stealing images. But if you don't go and post the images online, or you don't go and like yoink them from Reddit and you go and generate them yourself, there's gonna be no reverse image searching to do. Worse yet is you can make a consistent looking fake profile that looks like a real person. And you already see this with, like, the fake OnlyFans girls. But this is going to be worse. This is going to be people preying on, like, people actually looking for a relationship. Online dating apps, cooked. Completely cooked. And depending on who you ask, that might be a good thing. There's a lot of people out there that have very negative opinions on, like, dating apps in the first place, but this is still a very popular way to actually meet someone. It's going to get so much worse. It's going to become completely unusable. And this is the worst it is ever going to be. There will never be a state where AI is worse than this. Yeah. Good luck out there, boys. Good fucking luck out there. Keep in mind, it's obviously going to be better for women because people are coomers. This is why, let's be honest here. The reason why it's so much better for women and the women's side is like advanced so much is people want to nut. People want to generate porn, right? Let's just be honest. However, let's not pretend the male side is not as I would say the male art is maybe, or the male like fake generation is maybe like 2 or 3 months behind. You can still kind of tell with some of like the latest models, but it's getting pretty goddamn good. Where's a good example? Where's something on r/chat GPT? GPT? Where is it? I'm not finding a good... Yeah, here we go. Here's an example I saw. Like, this is not great. Like, this dude, he looks fake. I think it's still not great with muscles. I'm not certain what's throwing me off here. There is something uncanny about this. But again, this is only a few months behind where it is for women. Don't worry, it's going to be just as bad for the male side as well. So if you're, your thing for dudes, good luck. Good luck. When people say 2020, you've probably seen the meme, 2025, women were having sex with robots more than real men. Yeah, it's just gonna be online accounts though. That's what it's going to be. Obviously, like everything, yeah, you still have cases like this. It's not great with text. Text is still very cooked. But like, besides that, if we're not dealing with text, if we're just dealing with faces, you're cooked. You're cooked. Very cooked. Once, where it's gonna get real bad though, is once you have voice synthesis and facial tracking at that point, right? Because imagine this. You have a face that looks as good as this. You have voice synthesis that sounds like a female voice. And then you have facial tracking where you're basically a VTuber. Holy fuck. Even if it's not in real time, right? Like, it's like you can send a video note to someone. Even just that, holy fuck. You're cooked. You're very cooked. We're all cooked. Yeah. Speaking of being cooked, have you seen the Enron stuff going on? So, okay, for anyone who's unaware of this, let me just explain. So Enron is a scam. It was a giant fraudulent company from many years ago. Feel free to check out Enron and all their history. I'm sure you can find a lot of stuff with that. If you want a good example of, if you want like just a referential example of how bad Enron was, in Mr. Robot, there was the bad company called E Corp. That was based on Enron. Yeah. Yeah. Just so you understand, that is how bad, like, that is how bad Enron is. Okay. So, now, New Enron is a lot more fun than that. So, do you remember the conspiracy theory, birds aren't real? It's my personal favorite conspiracy. Basically, the idea is birds are surveillance drones. They are government surveillance drones. They look like birds because it allows them to, like, hide in plain sight, steal audio, capture video, things like that. Now, one of the guys who started that conspiracy theory purchased the Enron name, my understanding was for $275. Now, what Mr. Connor Gaydos is doing, yes, that is his real name. Gaydos. It's a great name. So what he has done now is relaunched Enron on Twitter and is basically just going around just announcing complete and utter bullshit. So the most recent thing is a at-home nuclear reactor. It's so fun because there are people who don't realize that it's fake. They're like, "Oh my god, Enron's back. Don't trust Enron." Like, no. This is actually just a parody. Is this the wait, that's the no, that's someone else who has the Enron name. Enron Corporation, is that it? No, that's another person who has the Enron name. Where is the meme Enron? Why is there so many fake Enron accounts on Twitter? Enron. Oh, it's just at Enron? Yeah, here it is. We are on a mission to transform energy forever. They follow one person, Connor Gaydos, the Enron CEO. Me and the boys raising the Enron flag. This is so good. I love that. I love that they're getting community noted. Like, yes, this is a meme. Like, this is actually just a joke. Enron is not back. Every single post they're making is getting... Okay, most of the posts they're making are getting community noted as if this is, like, a real thing. I have nothing but respect for this guy. Like, going out, buying the Enron name. Oh, yeah, this one. Buying a fucking billboard. We're back. Can we talk? Enron.com. Oh, man. I love it. I love it. Parody is fun. Parody is very fun. Speaking of parody, actually, while we're on the topic of parody, are you aware of the Australia break dancer? What the fuck's her name? Raygun, yeah, that one. So, she's been going around, suing, like, comedians. There was a comedian who was gonna do Raygun the musical, and was gonna donate... Rachel Gunn, yeah, that's her name. Who was gonna donate all of the profits to a women's shelter. And then she got angry and tried to sue the comedian who was doing the musical to donate money to a women's shelter, and then was going on this big media tour, like pretending like it never happened, and at the same time was like hosting a competition for people to dance like Raygun, and they could win like merch and stuff, but like at the same time was suing a comedian for fucking sending money to a women's shelter. Like, imagine, like how, like, literally all you have to do is just make stupid merch, show up at events, do the kangaroo thing, and you just have money forever. Like, you don't get greedy. Just ride the wave forever. Go and do some podcasts. Go and do fucking Logan Paul's podcast, or Jake Paul, whatever his name is. Go and do other podcasts. Just ride the wave. Do the I don't know, the whatever podcast, you know. No, you have to get greedy. You have to do some you have to try to steal every little bit of money you can. The musical ended up going through anyway, but they changed the name, so I guess that's fine. Parody is protected in Australia. There's not much that is protected in Australia, but parody is one of those things. And we actually we've had a lot of times where comedians have done parodies of politicians, and those politicians have showed up to the show, right? Like, this is like a tradition of doing this in Australia. But no, not Raygun, not Rachel Gunn. I can't have that. No. I am a very serious serious breakdancer who totally didn't cheat to get into the Olympics. No, that never happened. No, I totally legitimately should have been there, even though I got a 0 during my event. No, how would you ever think that I cheated? Again, just ride the wave. Ride the wave and you'll be good to go. But no. I think I got time for one more thing. So how do you feel about smart TVs? Because I don't like them. I really don't like that every TV you buy has to be a smart TV. I don't want to use fucking Google TV or whatever it's called. I don't want to use Apple TV. I have a console. I have a PC. Just let me buy a goddamn TV that's just a TV. Please, please, please do not force this into monitors as well. HP put Google TV into a gaming monitor. The 4K 144Hz Omen 32X can stream your gameplay and comes alongside a refreshed lineup of G2 monitors. Of the things you could make a smart device, right? Like, I get it for a TV, because there's a lot of people out there who don't have a console or have a PC, and they just they just watch TV. They plug the aerial in. They just watch TV on their TV. Fair enough. I can get the value of integrating Netflix and YouTube and things like that into the TV. I can get it for a smart fridge. I think it's stupid, but you know, you put an item in the fridge, you know when the item went in there, you know when the item came out, you like have a thing knowing stuff's there without having to open the fridge. Sure, fine. I get it for a smart grill. It's nice to be able to like put some food on and know the temperature of that food and then check on it when you know it's done and not have to like constantly like micromanage the temperature. Fine. But a smart monitor, is there a single person in the world who is using a monitor without another device plugged into it? Like, all the ports are empty, there's just a monitor there. Because if you're not that kind of person, which doesn't exist anyway, you're gonna have a PC connected to it, or a game console, which does all of the functionality of the smart device. And if you really, really want Google TV or something equivalent, you can buy a Chromecast, you can buy a Fire Stick, and not have it built into the display where it's gonna be out of date in 3 years because the hardware's already out of date today and it's gonna be EOL and no longer receiving updates and a complete fucking waste of time. Like, I hope this does not become a trend. This is not the first time this has been done, but it should be the last time. I never, ever, ever want to see this again. Just make a good monitor. And that's all it needs to be. I can go buy like, again, who is using a monitor without anything plugged into it? Nobody. At all. There is not a single person on the planet who does that, because monitors are intended to be plugged into a thing that does computing. I really hope people don't buy this, because if people buy this, it's going to be the beginning of the end. Because I remember in that transition from smart TVs being like a a thing for like super high-end TVs, and then it became lower end and lower end and lower end and lower end. Now the $100 TVs are smart TVs. They're not good smart TVs, but they're smart TVs. And now it's basically impossible to buy a TV that is not a smart TV. You can find them online, but it's very likely you're going to find them in like an actual, an actual store. You're gonna have to like go out of your way to actually find them, or buy the cheapest of cheap TVs that you would put in like a camper van, things like that. Like it's a 20-inch TV, something like that. Yeah. It's a few minutes before we would normally end, but I think when you end it there, I'm really fucking tired today. I don't know why. Our past like couple of days have been a little bit iffy. I do want to get back to the gym because I've taken like 2 extra days off, but I don't know. Again, I'm feeling like, yeah. Anyway, if you like the podcast and you want to watch more of it, we are on YouTube at Tech Over Tea. If you'd like to find the audio version, it is available on Spotify, every podcast platform. Yeah. If you want to find my main channel content, that is Brody Robertson on YouTube. That is also Brody Robertson Reacts for my React content, and Brody on Games both on YouTube and Twitch for the streams where I'm playing through 9 Souls. And I don't know what the other slot's going to be because Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be done, but I don't know what I'm going to change the game to after that. Anyway, until next time, be cool. I'm probably going to do more solo episodes this year because I kind of miss them. Hopefully I'm not as tired next time. But, yeah. So, I'm going to go. Enjoy the rest of your day, all the fun stuff. And I am out.